something else.
It's just
Yeah,
it's in our culture. Our culture trains women that if you have the looks, you know, hunt. There's
yeah.
not all of them, but there's several of them who don't. Um, but it just seems like if you go around the world, and I've only been out of country a few times, this dynamic that we're talking about is way more common here in America. You don't see it as much in places like Japan, in places like Thailand. Um, just from what I observed. So I think it's
I
very
heard
much.
stories though with them like Thailand and stuff, the lady
Oh yeah,
boys or
now
like the
I have to
certain women.
I have to clarify with Thailand. I wasn't in Bangkok that long. Like Bangkok
Um,
and those high tourist areas, yes, you're gonna have a lot of that predatory. But when I'm talking about like more of the islands, what was that? Phuket, Phi Islands, I
yeah.
didn't see that. From the normal like just everyday Thai person, they're not doing like there's not a highly sexualized culture in that area. But if you go to like Bangkok, that city, like yes, it's extremely. But I was only in Bangkok for one night. I didn't want to be there that long. I wanted to be more in the I wanted to be in more of the island jungle type of areas, and that's where I spent most of my trip.
Yeah, I mean, I put some videos real quick to check it out. Yeah, I got that from TikTok and stuff. Like, I wanted your opinion on it. Like, what's your thoughts on like AI and all this muscle growth, female muscle growth thing as art? Like, do you think that it's perverted now?
I think the AI that's continuing to be unleashed on us as people is going to f our worlds up. I think the people that have created these programs and stuff know what they're doing. First off, by trying to devalue artists. Um, that's one of the reasons why they put the programs out there is to make art jobs less important or irrelevant in the average everyday person's life. And it's an easy way to stimulate people, especially when it comes to the muscle women. Because
Mm.
look at all of them; those women are way bigger and even way more shredded than real muscle women can get. I'm not gonna lie to you; like if I saw a muscle woman that big, I'd go crazy over her. But I'm also like, why they have to be super shredded too? Like, why can't y'all have like muscle curvy women? Like, and that's the thing. It's like you guys want to push the extreme. And I honestly think it's so funny. I see right now that AI is being used to devalue art jobs, but I see pretty soon AI stuff is going to end up taking attraction away from some of these real women on the internet, the social media girls, because there's going to be a lot of dudes out there that are willing to now pay programs just to have these AI chats with those super dolled up women who look basically better than any real woman because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
basically almost perfect. And I think it's being done. It's designed on purpose, man. This stuff is not accidental. It's not just for our amusement. These things are meant to hurt certain people's pockets, and it's also meant to make the rich richer. Um,
Yeah.
there's a lot of big companies that have put their money in this AI stuff, and they're paying influencers to promote it. Earlier this week, I got upset when I saw a lot of people in the fitness industry doing the Studio Ghibli style of where they were basically use it like turning themselves into Studio Ghibli characters.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
just
I recently started seeing that with the anime type of look. Yeah, yeah,
it's because they so the fitness industry people, but also people as a whole right now, normative narcissism, you could call it. They're they're just gonna go with whatever's trending. So I when I saw all of them and it was flooding my account, I'm like, okay, the algorithm is probably rewarding you if you were to do it. So say if I was to do a version of myself on that, I'd probably get versus however many few likes I get right now, I'd probably get hundreds to even 1,000 likes, just because I'm
yeah,
promoting program. Or and it could be both, some popular influencer, and I did find out there was somebody who was like promoting it. He went on his channel on TikTok or something like that, and did it of himself and showed a bunch of examples. And this guy, I think, has millions of followers, so everyone jumped on board. Like people are, you know, people right nowadays just want to do whatever's going to get them popular. So if they see an influencer doing something, they're going to jump on. Like honestly, if they would if the influencer created an emoji or like an AI version of him, like a pile of shit, all the people would go and do the exact same thing because they're like, oh, this is what's gonna get me popular right now. This is what's cool right now. Like a bunch of fucking lames, man. This is the type of stuff that makes me look at our society and the people that are growing up in it with some like someone like me talking about this shit. I look at a lot of the stuff that's going on with society, and I'm just like, man, we are headed in a really messed up place, and it's mainly because people's minds are going to be so messed up. AI is going to cause people to think less for themselves. It's already happening. Like I've come
yeah,
across so many people that have AI do the most menial things, and it's like, bro, over time, your brain is going to deteriorate. It's just like someone who
yeah,
sits there and watches too much TV all the time. They're not thinking and processing information much on their own. They're just literally being fed constantly. And now you have it at the click of your fingers all day, every day of your entire existence. And now it's over sexualizing you. And this is an issue I'm running into. My feed sometimes is flooded with lots of muscle women, bodybuilders, strong women, all this other stuff. It's too much. If I'm seeing, and I mindlessly scroll sometimes too. But the thing is, when you're seeing that much sexual appetite like all the time, you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna get full, and then you lose your interest and appreciation for it. It's no longer stimulating for you as much as it used to be. It's not overnight either, but it takes place over time. And right now, I'm having to train myself not to, like, whenever I'm just bored somewhere, go and pull up Instagram and scroll or whatever. I'm having to kind of retrain myself to get away from that because I still want to be excited to draw muscle women. I'm not going to be excited to draw muscle women if I'm seeing pictures and images and AI ones all day, every day.
yeah,
It's going to become kind of like boring or just, it's not as stimulating anymore.
yeah,
So what's funny was one time I met a dude at the gym, and this is another thing I don't like about these people who really are twisted with how they use the AI. I was drawing at the gym. I had my booth and table there, and of course, I had lots of muscle women out on display, or drawings of muscle women. And then this dude came up to me and he's like, "Oh, look what I." He said basically, "Look what I drew," and I could tell it was an AI generated image. It's like, "Oh yeah, AI did that." And then he kind of was like, he was like, and I was like, yeah, I've seen lots of those pictures. But he was trying to pass it off as if he drew it, and I was like,
yeah,
no, yeah, I did that. Like I was like, okay, whatever. But in a way, he was trying to make me he was trying to show off, but in a way, kind of be like, look how much better this is, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, well, you didn't draw it, so like, okay, yeah, it's cool,
yeah,
but it's what it is. And that's another thing too. A lot of people that are promoting the AI stuff, they do deep down hate. Not all of them, but there's a good amount that hate artists, and it comes from being envious of us. They think it's all a natural talent. um, that we just like. A lot of people think that I was born out of the womb being able to draw the characters you see behind
It's
me. No,
practice.
I tell you,
It's
yes,
not easy
it's
to do.
long, long,
Yeah, it's a
thousands and thousands
practice.
of hours. Yes,
Yeah,
but people
yeah,
care. People don't care, and a lot of people don't put that type of effort into their own craft in anything. So
yeah,
then, when they see you develop it and they see that it's good, and that sometimes you get attention or a money from it, then there's like this resentment, and I've come. They don't vocalize it to me in my face, but I've come had many interactions with people, and I'm like, they're pretending to like my stuff or to like me, but deep down, this I get the sense that this person would stab me in a heartbeat if I was walking down an alley at night,
mm,
because you can just feel there's animosity, there's resentment. It's like f you, how dare you spend all your life developing a skill, you know and that's because a lot of them
yeah,
don't develop skills. So of course, when they get something like AI, which they can just type in 2 or 3 words and then boom, get this fabulous looking image, of course they're going to rejoice in it. So,
yeah,
but I don't think their victory is going to be that long, that long, just because at the end of the day, when you really don't put work into whatever you're getting fed, you lose appreciation for it. And a
yeah,
lot of those people that love AI stuff, I could see them growing bored of it in a heartbeat.
yeah. I didn't see it in that way. I just see it like I don't know because I see them doing it in music too. So I didn't think I didn't really come to think about it, but I just see that there's things I kind of agree with you on that you touch home, like that this was designed to kind of corrupts people mind and all that stuff like that. Because I was on watching a program about how communism, like communism is in America and stuff, and it goes back to atheists like Karl Marx and stuff like that, and they were like they were like more like the pioneers of what it is today. And so like during the years, people kind of infiltrated like the U.S. and they would put it like on the ideologies like in schools and art and music and all that type of stuff, but people don't really realize where it comes from. Like they look at things as a separate entity where these things they're all together, and yeah, it was a lot. It was this program I was watching, and it was kind of breaking down certain things, how over the years and centuries people was planning to do things to sabotage humanity and stuff, and they'll use like technology to kind of to throw people off, get lazy, kind of all type of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I 100% agree that if you really just study human history, especially in advanced in the Western world, the ruling class always is looking for ways to brainwash the masses.
yeah,
This is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on since like ancient Rome, ancient Babylon. The means of doing it is much more sophisticated because it's much more subtle, and they can confuse people now more with the internet. Um, and whenever you create all these systems and you've hidden them so well, and you've dumbed down the people enough, they're not gonna know, and they're not. A lot of them aren't even gonna care whenever they do find out. They just feel like, well, just as long as I still got my video games and TV shows, that's all that matters, Um, the the powers that should not be like to capitalize and play that game. And I mean, being African American, studying African American history, like look at what was done to our race, in this country. And I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people because they like to ignore it. And I'm not one of those that dwells on the past, but I do look at that history and see the psychological games that were played. it wasn't so much like sticking a gun to people's head and like, waging wars to make them become slaves. It was much more of a psychological, let's break you down and create you into the perfect being for our system. And the perfect being for our system is a mindless laborer in the case of a slave. There's a lot of detailed, uh, even with just how they use words, like even the term black and all that, a word that's associated with a lot of negative stuff in European culture. You think of black plague, black death, black cats, blackball, blackmail. It's a lot of negative things, and they throw that label black on people who have a darker skin or richer skin, but it's not black. It's a subconscious way of associating that group of people with something evil and despicable, and then growing to get them to accept that label of themselves. And we still, accept it to this day. That's just a very nuanced, small example. There's a YouTuber guy named what's his name? I'm gonna look it up real quick because he has several videos on the psychological warfare that was used in that day, and how you can see some of that psychological warfare still being used mostly on African Americans today, but he also expands it to all groups. He doesn't discriminate. He talks about like the ruling class, they don't like any common people. Like whether you're European, white, black, African, uh, let me look at his name. Oh, Brooklyn St. Michael. Brooklyn St.
Brooklyn
Michael
Saint
is
Michael. I ain't never heard of him.
he
Yeah,
has
I probably
he's an
could check him
amazing.
out.
You should, man. I'm gonna send you a text of him later. If
Yeah,
anyone's watching this video and they made it to this part, I want them to check out Brooklyn St. Michael because he's just great for understanding. He grabs a lot of resources in how ruling class people play games to dumb down and manipulate the common everyday person. His subject matter is mostly on African American history, but he does tap into how even the English used it against the Irish, other parts of ancient history as well, and then even ties into some of the stuff we see today with how the media is used to dumb down pretty much everybody, and it's
yeah,
mainly to make us, mindless consumers in a way. But
yeah,
also, it's meant to drive out the skill of people. It's meant to make people lazy and less skilled. Because when you're lazy, less skilled, you become dependent on the government for everything. The government
yeah,
says, "Well, you have to do this in order for me to feed you," and if you don't do what they say, then you ain't gonna get fed, and you ain't gonna know how to feed yourself
yeah,
because you haven't developed the skill.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't really thought about it with the AI, with the AI art and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I mean, you touch home with that. Yeah,
Yeah, they don't want you to think about it like that. They don't. When people hear me talk about this stuff, they get a little uncomfortable because part of them, part of them suspects that AI can be used against us in a negative way, and I think it is going to. I'm like, when I
yeah,
first heard about this stuff, like, yeah, the science fiction movies did play a big factor in my being like, I don't know if this is such a great direction we should go.
yeah,
But also, too, just knowing human history, how people in power always use new technologies to screw over the rest of us. I'm like, guys, all you got to do is open up a history book. But that's the thing. They've dumbed down people to where they don't want to read a book.
I mean, you could look
They'll
at
go into
documentaries if you don't want to read. I mean, they got some documentaries. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you could just go. You can even like look up something and it pops up and you could just read about it. Like this YouTuber, he mentioned. I remember he was talking about this guy that a lot of pop culture musicians and people from the entertainment industry was influenced to. His name was Alex Crowley, and he was more
Mhm.
of a liberated type of guy, you know, that kind of invited the sexuality and the pervertedness that
He's in the
people.
witchcraft. He was a witch,
Yeah, yeah, he was a
warlock.
witchcraft, exactly. Yeah, 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 I think
Yeah, he definitely.
he said he encountered a demon or something, and this demon kind of encouraged him to do certain things. Like he would read about yoga, tantric stuff, and other thing like witchcraft, like you said. And he I don't know, he just kind of wrote a book about his ideology of certain things, and people was influenced. The Beatles, what's his name? What's his name? From the dude that died, the Playboy Bunny guy, Hugh Hefner.
Hugh
He,
Hefner, yeah.
yeah, he was influenced by him and stuff. Yeah, a lot of them they were. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Aleister Crowley,
yeah,
and I don't know like how legitimate it is him talking to demons and stuff like that. But then again, I don't put it past people who play around with that stuff.
yeah,
I have no idea what they encounter, and I don't want to know. I don't want to get
yeah,
into those types of. But I do believe, based on the stuff that I've read and seen in documentaries, that he heavily influenced and infiltrated American media, and he promoted degeneracy to American culture, um, and being over sexualized, debauchery, and all this type of stuff. And you see it since the '60s. We've become a more and more vulgar, just looking at our movies and music, a much more vulgar, much more dumbed down society, uh, and it's constantly promoting it. And when you see, like, I saw hip hop, how hip hop early on was a more pure, fun, nuanced. It sometimes talked about street, political culture and stuff, and then transformed to where it became only about gangster music. And then I grew up. I was born in '87, so growing up in the '90s, seeing how it was transforming the young African American mind to become more hostile towards women and use them, and then also kill each other for the dumbest reasons, material reasons. And we were starting to do it more, and it was a lot of times because we're following these music artists. Well,
yeah,
it wasn't that hip hop organically just chose, oh, we're going to become this gangster type of aura. It's because a lot of European men who had lots of money started to push the artists who, or promote the artists who are going to provide that dumbed down negative messaging.
yeah,
NWA is the prime example of how it first really blew up. And then you had the whole Biggie and Tupac thing, and then um, ever since then, it's like rap has all become about materialism, violence, vulgar, just being as vulgar as possible versus in the past when it was a lot more nuanced, where there were several rappers that would talk about comic books and this stuff, talk about political activism, talk about just the subtleties of being like black in America, um, and even just ones that were just pure dumb fun, and then you also had the street grimy stuff too. But a lot of times, if you actually look at some of the best rappers who talked about like the grimy street culture that everyone praises, most of those rappers were actually warning people against it. They're like, yeah, we take part in a little bit of this life, but it's not something you want to really aspire to be because it's not a long lasting game. You're gonna
yeah,
either end up dead or in prison. So they were telling more cautionary tales versus like promoting it.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It is what it is. Just people just gotta have to open their eyes and don't be brainwashed. So
And
yeah,
there's some out there, I believe, that are not going to be brainwashed. One of the things that gives me optimism is when I'm drawing people at these events and at places, I come across several kids. I'm talking about kids as young as 7 years old who can see some of the problems. They're very much like they're not into everything that everyone else is into. They're not into jumping on TikTok and Instagram like all their friends are, or they're questioning some of the messages that they're getting in, the newest Disney movies or whatever. They're just kind of like, I don't like these movies. These are kind of like they can't articulate it that well, but it's like their spider sense is tingling. And
Yeah.
especially a lot of them who like to draw, one of the things that does make me happy is the kids who see me drawing and then they ask me, how did I get good like this? And I'm like, I started when I was your age and I did not stop. Keep doing it for the rest of your life. I try to give them nuggets on drawing stuff that they like, and then sometimes
Yeah.
branching out, trying new things. But I try to be that positive influence of don't get discouraged by seeing all the AI crap and all, or all this other stuff. Focus on your craft, continue to develop it, and eventually you can get like this to where it becomes your profession, if you want it to be, or you can just have it be a hobby that helps be therapy for you. I don't want there to be a future, and I think that's what some of these people who develop the AI want. They want there to be a future where there is no artist, no human artist. They want to get rid of them all. They want to discourage um, a lot of people from being creative, because creative is another power of intellect that a lot of people take for granted, and it's one of the highest, if not the highest form of intellect. Is taking the things that already exist and creating something new with that. Um, that's a threat to power structure, because that means that person who's doing the creating is going to see a new way that the world should operate, and then they're going to start to influence people with their music or their drawing or their movie or whatever, to start being like, maybe we should start to consider that way. The powers that be, the ones that just want money, 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 and to control people, they hate that. And that's why there's plenty of examples throughout history of fascist dictator type regimes destroying art or trying to kill off the artists, because they know that the artist is an intellectual threat to them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I had other videos. Um,
Can I while you're getting ready to do that, I just need to get up and use the restroom real quick.
no, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah. While we at it, folks, we look at his what you call it, his YouTube channel. I mean his Instagram. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. I don't know if people can see this. Okay. Yeah, let's look at his stuff, guys. Yeah, some artwork. He drew a lot of people.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, well, I was gonna just show. I had other videos and stuff, so we could look at this
My
one
favorite
right
thing about
here.
being a
I
professional
think,
bodybuilder is like walking down the street and passing a group of guys. When you have a bunch of muscle as a woman, they're always like, or they're like, and when I'm walking by them, I'm always like, oh my God, I look ginormous right now. It's my favorite.
I think we seen that before. I think I posted that before when we was talking about the other topic. I'm not sure, but I was trying to get some TikTok stuff on female muscle, but I don't know. I mean, it kind of based on what we was talking about earlier, about trying to get validate the women bodybuilders getting like this validation from guys and stuff like that, because a lot of them they'll be having like a sense of security about being looked at as similar to a man and stuff like that. And you know, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I know like a lot of them may not like what I'm gonna say, but it is almost similar to Transformer, if you know what I mean. Like, because sometimes the Transformers they a bit masculine, and some of them they do look like a woman, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate, who's who, So I mean, and then that's what the insecurities are there, but you know, I don't know. It's just,
I'm in agreement with you, man. I've seen some Transformers actually step up and start competing in women's bodybuilding, and then
yeah,
as the judges, and this remember when in that video I did with or the interview I did with George, I talked about how the judges are judging the women based on the criteria that they judge the men. Well, that's
yeah,
led to them rewarding some of these Transformers to where I've seen one win a competition and then some they usually place very high. And I'm like, whoa, guys, a muscular woman is not the same as a guy that became a woman or
yeah,
transformed. That's not the same at all. But we're being led right now in this world where they're trying to confuse us. Like the powers that should not be are trying to blur reality, distort reality. Me, I would much rather just keep my interest in buff women, very buff women. Um, and when I say very buff, I also mean very curvy because them being very buff and super hard and striated and all that doesn't do anything for me. When I was a teenager, I was more attracted to that, but I'm also because now the Transformers are looking more and more or becoming more convincing in their appearance of women. I don't want to find myself getting lured by one of them because I do
right,
know some men that have, and it's very confusing. Like most of them when they find out about it later, it's traumatizing. And there's a lot of people out there right now that are trying to say, "Oh, there's no difference." It's like, yes, there is. Like you can't convince someone who's always known what man and woman is to he's been attracted to women all his life, and then he engages with something that he thinks is a woman that was a woman from day one, but then he finds out afterwards or during that it it was a man that became a woman. That shocks him. That shocks a human being. And the
yeah,
people who try to blame and to castigate these people and say, "Oh, that's wrong," blah blah blah. No, you all are wrong for trying to force this ideology onto people. Leave it as it is. Like you can engage in that. I'm not one of those that says they can't do what they want to do. You can do it, but the, if a day comes where all of a sudden it's just trans winning female bodybuilding shows and stuff like that, I can't tell you who's going to be pissed off about it. The women themselves,
yeah,
muscle women themselves, and they're going to have a right to be. I'd be like, what the heck is this? But
yeah,
well, back to what you were saying about the Julia character. Yeah, she looked huge on that. I think she used to be bigger. Because I was actually looking at some of her Instagram. Like she does look good, but um, I don't think she's really that big as how she looked in that video. Like there's ways to
yeah.
do
I
angles
didn't
and
even
all
know
that.
her name. I just know I seen her. Yeah,
She's from Texas. I know she used to actually be bigger, where she was like thick and
yeah,
curvy. Now she's more cut down. But yeah, like what you were saying, when I saw that video of her, I'm like, she's gloating right now. She wants that attention. Now, some of the women do not like the disgusting attention they get from men, but there's several of them who are like, they want that. Oh,
mm,
like, look, this girl is more jacked than me. Oh my god, like what the heck? Oh, look. They live for it. Like, why else? Some of them, it's like, why else would you get that way if you didn't want that? They want
right,
it, and then they complain about it. That's what's funny. Is like, you
yeah,
wanted that attention, and now you're kind of like bitching about it. And it's like, okay, that's why a lot of them, it just feels like, and I can share this sentiment. eh, Being an artist, it's like they're constantly not content. You know, I'm constantly not content with my work, and then they're constantly not content with the attention that they're getting, or they're not getting it from the guys that they wanted to get it from. You know,
Right.
that type of thing. Um, One of the biggest issues that I have is, for whatever reason, it's like the universe or God is playing a huge trick on me. He's making me right now super attracted. He's making me super attracted to women who are not available, whether they're already in a relationship with somebody, or they're just not interested in me, or maybe they're freaked out because they know that I'm a muscle artist, whatever. Like right now, I'm on a pretty, aside from say girls like Nikki actually lives far from me, so I don't see her that often. I have noticed that sometimes if I'm like far from a woman, like we hit it off really, really well, and then we date, and then I just come whenever I'm in town. You know, we mingle, have fun. Um, that I do like, but I'm not on the road like that all the time. So it's like whenever I come across the women I'm really attracted to that say are within the vicinity of me at the gym and all that, like they're just not available, and it's like what the heck. I mainly attract women I am not attracted to, and then I'm trying to force myself to be attracted to them, but it's very hard to do. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That, you
I,
said
I
earlier.
just think it's a big.
You said earlier, like you not that women they found out that you draw muscle women and then they're not attracted to you.
It depends on which type of woman it is. Like
Oh,
I've seen, what it is mostly so interesting. It's mostly like smaller girls, like girls that you would consider like the really pretty, like blonde haired, blue eyed, like they were the class, like super popular girls growing up. They're the ones that have become more interested in me, and I used to be much more interested in them when I was in, high school and all that. But
mm,
they see the muscle women stuff, and it's like they know that they don't look anything like that, but I don't know, it's like they get entranced that I'm into that, and then they sometimes, I've seen some scrawny but beautiful women who will compare themselves to like the big bodybuilder pink girl that I have on my banner and say, "Oh, that's like me," and then they're kind of like looking at me like to see if I think they look like them. I'm like, well, beauty
mm,
wise you do, but you're missing all the muscle. But the girls that look most like the ones that I'm attracted to draw, yeah, whenever they see me anywhere, any type of pop-up event, they stay clear. And I think it's because they see like what I'm most attracted to, and they're closest to that body type, so they're just like, I'm gonna stay away from it. Sometimes, sometimes their friends or somebody will be like, "Oh, that's you," and kind of try to open that door, but usually no bueno. I did get a thick, curvy muscle girl to come dress up as Chun Li recently, um,
yeah,
and that was cool. I wanted to do more stuff like that, but the problem with those types of chicks too is just they're just so non-responsive, man. That's another thing. It's like we text, they're usually on timely, view all the messages all of a sudden. Then once the meeting and the art's done, and then like I'm trying to say set up for future, because that's the thing. She was like, "Hey, we can do some more in the future." Well, then when I'm trying to link up for that future time at another place, like no response. Now all of a sudden they're ghosting. And some of it too, I know is some of them just want to string along a man and see if they can get him to chase and bend to their will. And then
yeah.
they'll say, they'll see you like a month. I've had this happen recently, like with two different women who uh, they reached out to me and were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your message, blah blah blah. Like I've been super busy," and then they want me to respond to them, and I ghost them like they ghost me. I'm like, "Screw you all. You knew, you saw it a month ago. Now you're like." Whoever you were using back then now has lost interest in you, or you lost interest in them. So now you want to come try to use me for a date or something like that. And I'm like, no, screw you, f you. I don't. I don't try to live the world by an eye for an eye philosophy, but and right now, women are creating an eye for an eye type of mindset in a lot of men. It's like, man, you all are so. It's just have the decency, even if I don't want to hear it, have the decency to tell me, no, today's not going to work. Or, I'm busy, or I'm seeing someone, or I just don't want to get drawn, or blah, blah, blah. Fine. I'm not going to press you for that. The ghosting and then pretending like you just never saw the message, it happens so much that it's not an accident. It's not like all women just in the world are programmed to like look at a message and forget it and then respond to you like a few weeks or a month later. It's like, oh, come on. But
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I don't be going through that. I just, for me, it's like trying to reach out to women to talk to on my channel and stuff, and it's a pain in the ass. Sometimes some of them they see it and they don't respond, and then there's some that I don't know if they just have like an account and they don't look at their DMs or nothing like that. And there are some that they do, and so
oh, they do look at them. Here's the thing: what they do, they turn on that vanish mode. There's such a thing called vanish mode because I saw one do it where I sent her a message, and I can't remember about what. It wasn't even asking about like a date or anything like that. It was just something in regards to art, and like I saw like where it says "seen" at the very bottom, and then
yeah.
immediately it vanished. It went to where like as if she didn't read it. And what it
Oh
is
yeah.
she swiped up the vanish mode. There's a vanish mode thing on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I know.
And
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
so a lot of
yeah,
these girls, a lot of them with the big followers, they have so many followers. They don't look at
followers.
all the messages.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot of them who are innocent that they just don't look at them,
yeah,
and there's a lot of innocent ones who actually do see a message
yeah.
and they
I
forget.
see that one. I see that one. I see that.
But I have to give credence to the fact that there are those women out there that just are too busy or they just forget. But there's
Yeah,
a sizable portion that I've seen that they see a message and they just immediately do the whole
ignore
ghosting.
it. Yeah, they ignore it or
And
go.
with them, you got to move on. Just move on
Yeah,
from them. Like fuck them.
yeah,
It's becoming more and more prevalent in our world, and unfortunately, what these women don't realize is it's actually building up a lot of animosity now from men. Men are now like, man, screw all y'all. So if I get the chance, if I ever get lots of money and stuff like that, I'm going to screw you all over, like lead you all on the swing. That's
yeah,
the truth. It just leads this vengeance mindset, and that's what in Western society, both men and women are trying to really emotionally hurt each other.
yeah,
We're trying to
yeah.
lead each other, and it's wrong. It's not a formula for success.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. I mean, I used to think that way too. If I get rich or famous, I'ma hurt them and stuff like that. But just nah. I heard, like sometimes, you gotta let them be them and just, because it's kind of like a feminine trait for you to get back at them and stuff like that. And just it is what it is, man. I don't know.
Now, vengeance is part of human nature, um,
Yeah,
and both men and women take part in both masculine and feminine traits. So, if you want to
yeah,
say sometimes vengeance is, I don't condone vengeance, but I'll tell you this: as someone who's had that feeling, especially when you realize like um, I don't know when it's especially if you become jaded and bitter towards the world, it's going to be easy to give into that. You don't have to
yeah,
give into it, but it's just going to. I can see now why some guys do that, and some of these women who are behaving this way, they've had never negative experiences with men in the past, so now they're exerting their vengeance upon men right now. So, um, one of the things that I'm going to try to do with my life is learn how to kind of accept what